Hello, this is Douglas Block. Welcome today. It's Sunday. It's the 29th of October, almost coming to Halloween right now. And welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. Boy, Doug, you better kind of get your speech a little bit more together than that. Hey, I'm excited. I'm on my brand new Apple Lapbook Pro 13-inch 2017, which I got refurbished, but it's like new. Camera's better, broadcasting's better, and so hopefully some of you guys will tune in. We can ask some live chats, and we can some questions and answers. So again, get your questions here, and we will be happy to answer them as soon as we hear from you guys. Let me see if I can get the pop-up screen going. Say something. It's right here. So okay. So I guess you're going to basically be asking questions on this little pop-up screen here. As soon as I get the darn thing handled, they were right there. So pop out chat. All right. So I want to talk about today something called 5 things not to do when you're depressed. This is really important because when people get depressed, oftentimes they make decisions that only make things worse instead of better. And one of them, the first thing not to do is not to self-medicate. So what I mean by that, I mean when I say not to self-medicate, I mean not to do anything that would go ahead and try to change your mood using substances that are only going to make things worse. So a perfect example of that would be alcohol. A lot of people in my depression support groups drink because they are trying to improve their mood. Especially if people go out and drink socially. It's one way to try to break out of isolation. But as one of the members of my support group says, that when that happens and the person just comes down, the next morning they have a hangover, and it's actually worse than if they had done nothing at all. So the other way, of course, people will self-medicate besides alcohol is with drugs. I mean, well, there's psychiatric drugs, but then there's other drugs that are called drugs of abuse, like methamphetamine and cocaine, things that are uppers that get you high. And these things, of course, Sigmund Freud initially thought that the cure for depression was cocaine because he felt so well. And what happened is he learned what Isaac Newton said, which is what goes up must come down, and that's what happened to him. So I'm going to type something. Let me see if this thing works here. I'm going to try typing in my website in case any of you want to go there and check it out. Let me see if I can do this. www. Oh, it's actually working. We're actually typing something here. Healing from depression.com. There you are. So that's the website to go to if you want to basically find out more about my work. Going to make sure I'm turning off my phone for just a second. Anyway, yes. So not to basically take drugs of abuse when you are in a difficult state, and especially when you're feeling low. Stimulants can basically really get you in a really negative place. Well, you feel good initially, but after a while, as I said, what goes up must come down. So again, any questions you have, let me know, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, the second thing not to do is not to isolate. Now, this is something that a lot of people do when they get depressed. They basically isolate, and this is, of course, something that is very easy to do because people don't want to. They're oftentimes too tired. They feel too, what's the word? Just unmotivated, and they withdraw oftentimes to try to conserve their energy because they feel like they don't have much. But isolating is really, really tough because one of the things we know is that people do not get better in isolation. They must heal in community. And so isolation actually takes away that essential contact with human beings or even sentient beings. Even having a dog and walking a dog is better than doing nothing when you are feeling low. So isolating is something that's so easy to do and should not be done without well, shouldn't be done at all. Again, just checking my phone here to make sure. Just trying to make sure I don't get any messages in the middle of this. All right. So, how many people isolate when they feel like they really need to reach out, and that is definitely not a good thing to do, because, as I say, it blocks the healing energy from other sources. It's now 12:07 p.m. and here we are on your Sunday afternoon chat. I don't know quite why I'm not getting people logging in. I wonder if there's something off with the broadcasting here. I'm not quite sure. I may have to go on my iPad or something. So let me just. Great. One of my viewers just sent me a text, and I'm going to see if he really is, because usually by this time on Sunday we have a lot more people. Oh, I'm private. Damn, I didn't go public. That's the problem. Damn. I didn't even take my own advice. Didn't even take my own advice. Let's get this out of here. Let's get this out of here. And now I know what's happening. There we go. Well, sorry for that. I forgot to make this public so nobody can really see me. So now maybe we'll get some action here since we're actually public. And I apologize about that, everybody. I should have made it public right from the beginning. Well, this is what happens. I have a cheat sheet here. Yeah, go public, number 10. All right, so now we have the possibility of actually people watching. And Mike, if you are watching, ask a question. That would make me believe that you're really there. So that would be cool. Okay, so let me get my notes here and see what else you shouldn't do when you're depressed. Right? Don't isolate. Don't self-medicate, and don't make any big decisions, because if you do, you're going to oftentimes make the wrong decision. Let me check one other thing over here. I'm still trying to figure out. No, we're public right now. All right, I'll just keep talking. Hopefully somebody will come in and ask a question. Another person tuned in. Hooray, it's working. Ay. Why should we make decisions when we're depressed? Because oftentimes, when we're really depressed, we see through a glass darkly. We can't see things clearly. We see things negatively. Or thanks, Mike, for going ahead and saying everything looks good. I really appreciate it. Again, I wasn't public initially, and now at least if people have the opportunity to tune in if they want to. So, getting back to this other point about making decisions when you're in a deep depression, a number of problems with that. Sometimes people are wanting to do things just to get out of their pain, and they don't have good judgment. Other times, again, because they're seeing things through a glass darkly, and they tend to be overly negative, and they can't really, be objective. And oftentimes they'll, especially like quitting a job or selling a house. I have my nephew who is going through a very difficult divorce. And by the way, in my last video, not last, but a couple of videos ago, the number one cause of depression, it basically is divorce, loss of love, and what that means is when people break up with other people, they lose someone, sometimes to death, mostly to divorce. They go downhill because human beings are wired for attachment, and what happens is they start to decompensate and feel horrible. So this guy, my nephew, was in this state, and he decided one day, he called me up and said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell my house, and I'm going to take my son and my ex-girlfriend. We're going to travel around Thailand together." I said, "You got to be kidding me! Your son is just starting this, the third grade. He's in a great school district. This would not be good for his stability. He's already having a hard time because you and your wife are separating, and besides, if you sold the house, so house prices are so high and rents are so difficult and so high in Portland, Vancouver. You'll come back and you'll be paying $1,700 for a one-bedroom apartment where your mortgage is only $1,300. Wow. Hi, Becky. Why don't you write a question for me? It's great that you're a support to Mike and that you're basically really, really helpful to his recovery. I said earlier, don't isolate when you're depressed. Well, certainly having a loving partner or a loving friend makes all the difference in the world. The great psychoanalyst Alice Miller said that when children are growing up in households of abuse and neglect and abandonment, when they're having trauma, all it takes is what she calls a witness, one person, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a teacher, a coach, to go ahead and validate that person and to give that person unconditional love, and that person can recover from that trauma later on. They don't have to be damaged by it. So the fact that my friend Mike out there has his partner, Becky, coaching him and helping him while he's going through this episode, and fortunately coming out the other side right now, this makes all the difference in the world. So, social support is like my belief, the number one factor in helping people to get over depression, and also it's the loss of social support, the separation, is the number one factor in causing people to go into depression. So, healingfromdepression.com is my website if you want to check that out. In the meantime, please feel free ask any question about mental health recovery, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, the nature of the universe, what happens after we die, when did the universe begin, does time go backwards and forwards indefinitely, little simple questions like that to answer. Speaking of which, I think it's time for a joke. Hey, Pig Floyd Ron, nice to see you. Sorry, the first couple of minutes I wasn't public. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess better late than never. Okay, what's the joke? I think I mentioned this last time. I'll say it again. Why did the scarecrow eat dinner? He was stuffed. That's a good pun. I like puns, don't you? If you have any puns, why don't you write the questions down there? Here's another one. Oh yeah, I think I mentioned this last time. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say it again. Any of you into art history? I studied art history and went to France and went to the great museums in there. And so the other day there was a man who was an art thief. He actually robbed I can't have Alzheimer's this early. I'm only 68. Hey, Ellen, nice to see you again. Okay, what did he do? He robbed the museum. What was it called? The Louvre. I can't even pronounce it. Anyway, famous art museum. But unfortunately, his car stalled 2 blocks from the museum, and he got caught. And he shook his head and said, "Oh my God, I should have taken more than the Picassos. You see, I needed the Monet to buy gas to make the Van Gogh." That hurt. Anyway, all you art historians will definitely like that joke. Here's one more, and then I'll get back to serious business. You studied art. That's a good one. LOL. Well, good. You know who Monet and Van Gogh and Picasso are. Good for you. I love Monet, by the way. I had a friend who just went to France and actually stayed and visited the house he lived in. He did his amazing paintings of haystacks and caught the light. I love the Impressionists, so I'm sure you do too. Third joke. I was by a pond yesterday. We have beautiful, beautiful ponds and lakes out here in Oregon. I saw a sign that said, "Frog parking only. All others will be towed." Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. All right. So getting back to the 5 things you should do when you're not depressed. That's, by the way, my third most popular video. So when you are depressed, so I hope you guys check it out. So the first was don't self-medicate, don't isolate, don't make big decisions. The fourth one is don't neglect your physical self-care. There was a big article in the New Yorker talking about how important sleep is to mental and physical health. And it is. Is anybody listening have sleep problems? I'd really like to know if that's the case. That would be really good to find out because this is a really big issue that a lot of people with depression and anxiety have is sleep. And sleep is much more important than people realize. And I got to track down that New Yorker article talks about it because it's an issue that about eight out of every 10 people I see has. So so if you're going through depression, try to get sleep. Now, if you can't get to sleep, if you wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back, or you're ruminating, or you're anxious, then try taking warm baths before each meal. Try going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. And that will be really, really helpful in regulating your sleep. But if that doesn't work, then you may want to try medications. And one of the most popular medications is something called Ambien. Anybody out there ever tried Ambien? It's really a drug that H.J. Flower, what's the difference between depression and extreme introversion? I think somebody asked me that last time. My God, we got some birds out here. God, it's October. Great. Sun's out again in Portland. We're having a streak of amazingly good weather. Usually around Halloween things go south, but not right now. So yeah, so when people are introverted, they prefer their own company and they like to do things alone, solitary. They prefer that than going out and socializing and partying. So some people have those temperaments that they like to draw and paint and do things that are solitary. But when a person is depressed and they withdraw, that's not helpful because they're in pain and they do it in even a more extreme way than introverts. For example, they never answer the phone, or they let the mail pile up and never answer it, or they stop going and see the friends they used to have, or they stop attending school. Hard to go back to sleep in the middle of the night, says Helen. Well, yeah, that's a problem I've been dealing with for a long, long time. And so, I take something called CBD oil. It's the part of the hemp plant, the marijuana plant, that is non-psychoactive. And a lot of people use it for anxiety. It's really expensive, but you might want to try that. It has no psychoactive properties. You don't get high, you don't get stoned, and it relaxes you. It really does. Getting a cup of tea, and if that doesn't work, then I would say taking some medications before bedtime that help you sleep through the night. And there are 3 antidepressants that are used all the time. One is called Remeron, one is called Trazodone, and the other is called amitriptyline. You can get them from any psychiatrist. They're non-addicting, non-habit forming, and they are extremely effective in helping people sleep through the night in low doses. The other one, if you really have a sleep problem, is Seroquel, Seroquel. I think I'll type that. Sorry for the squeaky trailer. I got to get oil that puppy. Here, let me type this in here. Seroquel. Can you see that? If you really have sleep problems and they're really, really bad, this is what you really, really need to do is to look at that. Because that is a drug that nobody will have insomnia on. That's like knocks you right out. Becky says, Mike starts work tomorrow for the first time in many months. What can I do to make sure he's okay? And what can I do to get him through the big change? I would say, Becky, just be there for him. Ask how he's doing. Tell him he can call or text you if he gets nervous. When he gets home, if you're at work and you're not there, call him up and, just affirm for him, Mike, you're going back to work part-time. This is not as stressful as the work you used to do. You're working at the desk, not, out and about, so you can handle it. And just tell him you love him, and no matter what, happens, you'll be there for him. I have a video called Best Things to Say to Someone Who's Depressed. And oftentimes it's not a matter of fixing them or giving them advice. It's just a matter of giving them unconditional support and love, and just saying, I'm here for you. Helen says, I found that to try to keep busy during the day helps. Naps no more than 20-minute cat naps. Yeah, naps are not very good for sleep hygiene. So you should avoid them if possible. Maybe 10-minute cat naps, because that can really, really ruin your whole pattern there, your whole, how your sleep cycle is if you take too many naps. So napping, cut the napping out if you can, and or at least keep it to a minimum. So yeah, I try just to push through the naps and not do them. H.J. Flower, did I answer your question about introversion versus depression? They're very similar. A lot more introverts are depressed than extroverts, and we live in America in a very extroverted culture. So extroverts get a lot of support. They're much more liked. Introverts have a hard time. There's something called the Myers-Briggs inventory that classes personality types, and introverts versus extroverts, intuitive versus sensation, thinking versus feeling, and judging versus I forgot the other one, but the INFJs, the INFPs are perceptive, right? The INFPs, they only represent 2% of America, but they account for a much greater majority of people who are depressed or anxious. People who are introverted, who tend to be feeling more than thinking, who tend to basically be more intuitive than people who are focused on the material world, and people who are less structured, more kind of laissez-faire. So number four, the fourth thing about 5 things not to do when you're depressed is to make sure that you are not ignoring your physical health. Diet's the other one. Do not skip meals. A lot of people lose their appetite when they're depressed. Oh my God, my mother lost 40 pounds in 1 month. Can you believe it? I'm an FP, says H.A. Flower. Wow, you knew that. Fantastic. Oh, he's IJE24. I'm going through a bad time. Now it's affecting my work. I can't see any way out of it. I want to give up. Please help. Well, you're obviously going through probably a depressive episode. So the first thing you need to do, IJE24, is to go seek out treatment. Find a good counselor. Find a good prescriber if you want to try medication. And those are the 2 things. And also try support. Find a support guide. I know can you tell me what country you live in? Because in America, we have a lot of support groups. We have the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and we have the Depression Bipolar Support Alliance. Those organizations, if you go to their websites, they have support groups all over the country. So first of all, I can tell you, IJE24, that you will come out of this, even though you can't. Or you're from England. Well, so much for NAMI. Maybe so many people, come on these chats from the UK. It's amazing. Go to the Depression Bipolar Support Alliance's website and see if they have groups in Great Britain or England, or call your local, mental health agency. That would be good. But more importantly, go find a good therapist and go find a good psychiatrist or nurse practitioner, because psychotherapy and medication combined can treat usually about 90% of depressive cases, and the other 10% can get help through something called TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, or ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. I have never met, in 17 years of having my website and 17 years of running my support groups, anybody who did not come out the other side of depression. No, everybody has made it safely to the shore. I had a video just the other day about you're more resilient than you think. It came out on Monday. Speaking of which, I have a new video coming out tomorrow. Yes, it's called Does Exercise Really Heal Anxiety? Duh. Of course it does. I found that out when I was had a bad reaction to a drug, an antidepressant that got me to something called akathisia. I did a tape on that, a video on that, and I was pacing back and forth. I couldn't sit still. I was horrible. So my therapist said, go to the nearest swimming pool, swim until you drop, you'll feel calmer, which is what happened. So tune in tomorrow for Does Exercise Really Heal Anxiety? I give what types of exercises work and the science behind it. So IJE24 from England. I would go to my website, healingfromdepression.com. I wrote it earlier. If you can scroll up the chat, check out my videos and go find help, both in terms of individual therapy, drug therapy, if you can get it, and also support groups or people who really, I hope you have people who understand, but you will come out of it. This too shall pass. Just keep telling yourself, this too shall pass. Have you ever told yourself, IJE24, thank you, I love your videos, appreciate that. You'll come out of it, man. Read Doug's book. He has a great story. I'm reading it now, and his videos have truly saved my husband's life. Trust me, it was bad. My book. I should have my book nearby. I'm going to go get my book right now. It's called Healing from Depression. It's Healing from Depression. I'll get it in a minute. It should be right by my side, and it's not. But it's a 12-step program or 12-week program of depression recovery. And the first part of my memoir, which is called When Going Through Hell, Don't Stop. And by the way, if you don't think depression is hell, you've never been through it. IJ24 from England, don't you feel like you're in hell right now? Um, yeah. So yes, you can come out of hell. You will come out of hell. You will resurrect like the phoenix. And Becky, thank you for telling IJE24 about the book. You can get it in a Kindle version on Amazon.com UK, or you can go online and get it for about $15, or maybe it's £12, the print version. And if you go on my website, healingfromdepression.com, you can see a summary of the book and the table of contents. But tell yourself you will get better. So here are my 3 keys to mental health recovery. Set the intention to heal. Make the decision you want to get well, even if you don't know how. Reach out for support, and treat your symptoms using a combination of mutually supportive therapies. Those are the big 3 things. Serenable says, what about EFT tapping? Does anybody out there who's watching know about EFT? That's when you basically take these acupuncture points on your head, your eyes, your nose, bottom of eyes, down here, your chest, and you tap on them while you say affirmations. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, started by a guy named, his last name is Craig, I forgot his first name, but a lot of people find it really helpful for emotional regulation. And you say something like, even though I have this depression, or even though I have this negative self-talk or this self-hatred, I truly and deeply love myself. And you do that while tapping on those points on your forehead, your chest, and your hands. And people say it really, really helps. And have you tried Serenable? Have you tried EFT and tapping? IJE24 says, I'll definitely have a look. You mean look at the book, I hope. Take Becky's advice. I also have the book, and I was there with my depression. Oh, Helen, you have Healing from Depression? Wow, two readers right here on the chat. So I guess IJE24, I guess you're going to have to listen to your fellow compatriots who are suffering to get a hold of that book. And I think in a minute I'm just going to go grab it from the shelf and show it to you. All right. Any other questions? So IJE24, you will get through this depression. Things will get better. I promise. I promise. I promise. Okay. So what are we talking about? Okay. So in terms of number 4, things not to do, don't neglect your physical self-care. Eat, 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 as my mother used to say. There were people starving in China, or there were people with eating disorders in Beverly Hills, right? That was a joke. Eat your food, clean your plate. But in all seriousness, a lot of people for depression forget to eat. One of my clients hasn't been to a grocery store in 6 months. Can you believe it? Hasn't gone shopping? My goodness, I love to eat. H.A. Flower says, EFT prevented my seasickness and I tried everything. Well, a lot of really smart people use emotional freedom technique. You can type that in on the internet, emotional freedom technique. I'll even type it in right now in just a second. But, basically keeping up with your diet and eating, balanced meals is really, really important, especially having enough protein. You know why? Here, I'm typing this up here. Emotional freedom, TECHNIQUE. I got an A in math, but I failed typing, so what can I tell you? All right, so try emotional freedom technique, those of you who want to use kind of a non-drug approach. Now, getting back to the eating, there's a very famous book called Potatoes Not Prozac that's out there, where people are using diet to help prevent mood swings. This woman who wrote this book, who was a psychologist in San Francisco, found that many people who were alcoholics and many people who were depressed, but mostly alcoholics, had a sugar craving. And, alcohol is 100% sugar. So they would go through, days where they have a big bowl of cookies or ice cream and they'd really go high and then crash. And then they'd crave a drink and their mood would crash. So this whole thing about sugar creating highs and lows and creating the desire to drink. So she said, eat 3 meals, no more than 5 hours apart, and every meal have protein the size of a fist like this. And that will stabilize your blood sugar, stabilize your moods, and stabilize your desire to drink. And everybody who I've recommended that to has helped. Do you think cycling or walking is better exercise to reduce anxiety, and why? Says Kate. Well, I think it's a no-brainer. I think that cycling is a better choice because it gets your heart rate up to 70 to 80% of its maximum and allows you to break a sweat. Now, that being said, I have a client of mine who does fast walking, and that is a way to get your heartbeat moving. And walking up a hill, I just got off the phone with someone I'm coaching. Hey, Mark, are you watching? Ask a question, for heaven's sakes. You're going to be shill, right? You're going to tell me how great my website is. Okay, well, Mark is not watching at the moment. But anyway, yeah, so Mark climbs this very steep hill, about 300 feet. I'll tell you, by the time you get to the top of that hill, you're winded. So, but cycling is normally a more aerobic activity than walking, and is therefore normally better. But under circumstances, certain circumstances, walking up a hill or at a fast pace or going on a treadmill at 3 miles an hour can do the same thing as cycling. So, Leigh McQueen, nice to see you again from the UK. I bought a dog from a blacksmith the other day. The reason I know he was a blacksmith is because the minute I got home, the dog made a bolt for the door. Oh my God, that sounds like me. Have a good evening, Doug. Well, he could have been a carpenter too, right? By the way, did you get a dog from a blacksmith, Lee? Because dogs are very helpful in healing from depression. A lot of my people with depression who I see in my support groups, and by the way, I hope you can find some support group, you guys. They're very bonded to their dogs, and one of them, the only exercise she gets is she faithfully takes her dog for a walk every single day. Good joke, says Linda Queen. Yeah, well, I'm glad you liked it. I thought it was cute. Well, I'm gonna have to think of another one. No, this is a joke. No, I don't want any negative jokes here about attorneys. I don't mind attorneys. A lot of people don't like them. But I like my doctor joke about the doctor has a patient. He gives the patient 6 months to live. The patient can't pay his bill, so he says, "Okay, I'll give you another 6 months to live, so you can pay my bill." So did that answer your question about exercise, Kate, in terms of cycling and walking? I think they both can work. I think cycling is going to usually work better because you eat more easily, can get your heart rate up. But haha, says Lee McQueen. Okay, I'm glad you liked it. A little commercial break right here at 12:30 my time, 8:30 Britain's time. One is my book, Healing from Depression, which people have mentioned. Two is I do one-on-one mental health coaching. I have actually clients in England and some in Denmark and other countries, as well as here in the good old US of A. And then third, in the bottom right hand of your screen, there's something called Super Chat. And that's a place where you can make a small donation to this channel to help me continue to give you guys the best mental health information I can research. And by the way, I've been at it for 50 years, since 18, trying to get myself out of this pit and trying to share my knowledge and experience with other people. An attorney joke, please. Okay, in a second. Aerobic exercise. Watch Bill Burr if you want a good laugh. Okay, is he on the internet, Kate? Ali, excuse me. Well, okay, so what's the difference between a dead attorney on the road and a dead rat? The rat has skid marks in front of it. Oh my God, Robert Bly, the great American poet, said that. I apologize, all you attorneys out there. I'm really sorry. I'll have to give another one. What do you have when you have a bunch of attorneys up to their neck in sand? Answer: not enough sand. Why are people down on attorneys? I mean, I had an attorney write up a legal guardianship I was doing. I'm going to find someone to help me set up a nonprofit corporation to do my will. I think they can be very useful. I'll have to now, says IJE24. I'm not quite sure when you meant by that when you say I will have to now, but IJE24, it's 1JE24. I'm sorry, I'm not getting your name right. Please, please, please seek out treatment. There is help. You guys, yeah, Bill Burr, why do I think this is a great show? I'm not quite sure. Mike says, as I'm coming out of the other side, so thankful. Do you find that acceptance that this illness will be a lifelong journey, must treat it with respect? Yes. Oh, you're going to watch Bill Burr. Okay, well, I guess I got to watch him also. Did you get my message about seeking out help? Everybody here on this channel right now watching has been through depression, has come out the other side. So, that would be a very, very good thing to know, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not just an oncoming train. So, lifelong journey. Yes. Well, I had a video about 3 weeks ago called "Will These Bouts of Depression Ever End?" And the answer is no. No, it's a chronic relapsing condition. And as Mike says, you have to treat it with respect, and because it can always come back and bite you in the tush if you don't watch it. Uh, Brian Hunt says, do you feel as though when you come out of depression, it's gradual or like a light switch? It's usually gradual, although the last two depressions I came out of were like a light switch. In 96, 97, I was severely depressed, suicidally depressed. None of the antidepressants had worked. I was essentially given up. Even ECT wasn't recommended. And if you read my book, Healing from Depression, and go to the first part of the memoir, When Going Through Hell Don't Stop, what happened was a group of 12 people at the spiritual center that I went to, called the Living Enrichment Center. They formed like a mastermind group, a group where they all came together, held me in the light, and visualized my healing based on a vision statement of wellness that I had written. They held that vision statement and read it every morning at 9 a.m. for 1 month, and by the time 1 month was over, 80% healed. So that was not quite like a light switch, but coming out of depression in 1 month when you've been through it for 18 months is pretty amazing. And the recent depression I came out of a year and a half ago was when I did something called electroconvulsive therapy, which at the time, ECT, I was in the hospital. I had 8 treatments. It really wasn't working. And then I got out and started going to an outpatient program. And within the first week, I noticed a distinct change. Within about another month, I was feeling better. So I've come out of them in usually about a month. But usually it's really, really, really gradual, like my friend Mike, who's been chatting with us. Mars bars, they're out of this world, aren't they? In a galaxy far, far away. There you have it. Another joke. I love it. So Brian, what about you? When you've come out of your depression, has it been gradual or has it been immediate? I'm not quite sure. But is getting 5 hours sleep or is it bad? Well, I have read in the literature, Serenable, that usually you want to try to get at least 7. I know that when you get less than 7, you're more likely to put on weight or it's hard to lose weight. I think Thomas Edison used to stay up all night. I think he hardly slept. So I think it depends on the person. Most people need somewhere between 7.5 and 9 hours of sleep. I would go to a sleep specialist. Are you from the UK also? But you should definitely check out this article from the New Yorker magazine. So I think 5 hours seems a little slim, but maybe some people can handle it. Lee McQueen says, Inderal seems to be stabilizing me in the last 2 weeks. Are you sure there's no side effects from these drugs? No. Inderal or propranolol, Lee, is basically a blood pressure medication that is a beta blocker and it slows down the heart. That's the side effect. So if your heart rate is very low, it can get it too low. So just take your resting heart rate every now and then and make sure it's not dropping below 50. Other than that, I can see no side effects. Ask your doctor, by the way. I'm only giving you, 30 years of experience as a counselor, but the person really you should ask is the person prescribing. You're from Ireland, that's right, I remember. I think everybody here is from the UK. 7:40 p.m. here, and I'm going to get some dinner now. Speak soon, everyone. Thank you all for your help. IJE24, please write me, douglasblock@gmail.com. Before you go, I'm going to put my email address in here. If you have any problems that you are going through that you need some more in-depth feedback on, I want you to write me. I answer all of my emails. And here is 1JE24 right here. Did I just return? No, that did it. So, yeah, I there is help out there, IGE24, even in groups like this. There are also chat groups online. So you should definitely take advantage of all the help that is out there. Nobody gets better from depression by themselves. So, can't beat a little bit of water, huh? Okay, you're from the States, Brian. What state? What time zone are you in? Can I tell us about my usual week? How much therapy work do you do? It seems like you don't stop. Thank you. I don't stop what? You mean don't stop doing these videos? Because my therapist said if I stop doing them, I'm going to have relapse. No, he didn't say that. So, typical week is I get up in the morning, do my stretching, meditation, etc. go down and have my breakfast of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Oh no, I don't do that. That was a joke. Yogurt and fruit and some walnuts and some flax seeds. Then I come down to my office about 9:30, and I have a number of things I'm doing. I'm answering emails. I'm responding to comments on YouTube. I'm working on my new video scripts for my Monday videos. By the way, the next video is this Monday. And also doing administrative work, and I'm starting a new series of videos on affirmations and healing affirmations, so I'm starting to write those scripts. So then about 2 o'clock I get burned out. That's plenty of time working in the office, so I'll either go on a bike ride with a friend or go on the elliptical in my back office or take a walk around the block if it's sunny and exercise for a while, come back, relax, eat, and then usually during the evening I'll either read some books on depression recovery or maybe answer some more comments. So yeah, I do this because I love it. And so thank you for asking me about my schedule. It's important for everybody to have a schedule. Part of depression recovery is essentially having some sort of routine that you can count on and something that you can look forward to. That's absolutely critical. Brian says, do you feel as though, you're in Michigan, 3 hours difference, so it must be about 3:42 over there. You feel as though your purpose in life is to assist others get through the hell of depression. Brian, I think that's what my purpose is, or one of my purposes right now. It's also to help my godson and goddaughter, and also try to become more spiritually aware and enlightened. So we all have multiple purposes, but in terms of my work, in terms of my work in the world, and remember that Sigmund Freud said that mental health is the ability to love and to work. My work, I would say, is definitely helping people get through the hell of depression, but more importantly than getting through the hell of depression, or as important, is staying out. So in my book, When Going Through Hell, Don't Stop, I say there are two basic tasks in depression recovery. One is to get out of hell, which is really difficult, but the other is to stay out. And as our friend Mike can tell you, and I can tell you, oftentimes we get out of hell and then fall back into the pit because of this whole thing called relapse. Talk to any alcoholic or any drug addict and they'll tell you about relapse. When people are in inpatient care, usually within the first year for drug and alcohol treatment, at least I've been told 90% of them have some sort of relapse within the first year. That's not a good statistic considering the opioid epidemic in America. But yes, Brian, I think that doing this work and spreading the word that recovery is possible and giving people tools and coping strategies is probably what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Is it possible that part of depression is not understanding your purpose in life? That's what I'm struggling with. Yeah, I think you've written about that to me. This is true. There's a very famous book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who learned in the concentration camps that people who survived were not the strongest, not the youngest, and not the healthiest, but those who had a purpose and something to live for once they got out of the camps. Meaning and purpose are huge, absolutely huge. And when I have had times in my life when I've not been working and floundering around, not knowing what I was going to do, I was much more prone to depression. So you should definitely, if your work is what's basically, Evelyn May from Ohio, not Ohio, what I'm talking about, from Hawaii. Totally agree with you, Becky. He's truly an angel, our angel. Yes, Brian. Have you read Man's Search for Meaning? Says Cade. It's a life-changing book. It's about something called logotherapy, but what's really important is the first 92 pages. It's the memoir of how Viktor Frankl survived Auschwitz, the concentration camp, the infamous one, and during World War II. He was a psychiatrist by training before he went in there, and it gave him an incredible opportunity, a laboratory to study people who were going through extreme states of stress, trauma, depression, anxiety, and he found the key to surviving. So, yes, Brian, there's something called the Strong Campbell Interest Inventory that you should take if you're worrying about your work or don't know about your work. I just gave a version of that to Mike, and we're waiting the results. That will definitely help you if I can ever send the thing out there. Sorry, Mike, procrastination, depressed people, what can I tell you? I have to do a video on procrastination. Taking some sort of vocational inventory or going to a career counselor who can help you find your work is really, really critical. That's very helpful. And apparently I need to read it, says Brian Hunt. Yes. It says, Lee McQueen says, meaning and purpose are essential for mental well-being. it's like if you lose your job, your sense of identity is stripped away and you feel lost. Well, that's very true because a lot of people get their identity through work, and this is so crucial because we our self-esteem and our self-worth is defined by work, and that's really not what it should be because work is something we do. It's not who we are, but it is crucial to having purpose and meaning. So when people lose their jobs or their occupations, it is a big stressor, and it can bring on depression. But don't always remember you are more than your job. You are more than your work. You are more than any external definition. You are a spiritual being of love and light, and it doesn't matter what you're doing or how much money you have, or how young and pretty and talented you are, or how intelligent you are. None of that. That's all external stuff. That falls away. You're basically, a being of pure awareness. Um, anyway, so I hope you. Thanks, man. Says Lee, agreeing about meaning and purpose, right? Uh, Brian Hunt says the strange thing is I do well at my job and make good money. It just goes to show that money does not equal happiness. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Uh, can't buy me love. Everybody tells you so. Um, yeah, I would agree that the Beatles were right. Money can't buy you love. And as a matter of fact, that they've done a study that once you get to a certain kind of comfort in life and your needs are met, you're not worrying about the rent or the bills or the heating or getting evicted. Once you got a certain level of material comfort, that more money doesn't mean more satisfaction. So I'm kind of making these numbers up, but not really. So they did studies show that if you're making $75,000 a month or a year, $75,000 a month, God, what is that? That's a secret risk for wealth and grandiosity. $75,000 a year, which is plenty. You may be at a certain level of happiness, but then if you make 200,000, maybe your level of happiness only increases 5%, and maybe $500,000, maybe 6%. So at some point, more money does not mean more joy and happiness. As a matter of fact, there's an old Persian story about a king who sends out someone to bring him back the happiest man in the world because the king is a melancholic, he's a depressive, Prozac has not been invented, he's pacing back and forth, feeling like a schmo. So the king says to the guy, "Bring me back the shirt of someone who's really happy and joyful." So the wise man comes back about a month later and he has no shirt. So the king says, "Where? I told you to bring back the shirt of the man who was the happiest man in the kingdom." And the guy says, "Well, the happiest man in the kingdom doesn't own a shirt." So whether that's true or not, it makes the point that material things are not necessary for happiness. The happiest I was in 1992 when I had virtually nothing and went back to Madison, Wisconsin, my old home, and met up with some friends. Oh, and it was fantastic. So you're right, Brian. Money does not equal happiness. Inner happiness brings outer happiness, is Lee. Very good. Do you know much about Dorothy Rowe? No, I don't, Kate. Let me know who she is. Becky says, I feel maybe losing a job is an opportunity to find something you were meant to do, so go for it. May make happier. So, Becky, who are you referring to when you say go for it? That would be good to let us know. We have about 12 minutes left in this lovely talk. And the weather is still nice in Portland. I hope to get out when I can. Getting back to my original talk here about the 5 things not to do when you're depressed. Number 1 is don't isolate or don't self-medicate. Don't isolate. Don't make big decisions. Don't neglect your physical self-care. And the 5th thing is do not ask the question, when will this end? That is the one question that can get people who are desperate suicidal. Because what they'll come up with is, oh, this is not going to end. And if it's not going to end, then I can handle this. And if I have to be in this hell for the rest of my life, I might as well kill myself, because eternal depression is something I can't live with, and nobody can live with that. But that's not the question to ask yourself, when will it end? The question to ask yourself is, what can I do this day? What can I do this day to help me get through the day, and to get me through another 24 hours, and to tell yourself this too shall pass. The only constant in the physical universe is change, and nothing lasts forever. The Buddhism says impermanence is the name of the game. Everything is impermanent, including your suffering, including your depressive episode, because the word episode implies it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that's what you need to tell yourself when you're really stuck, and not ask yourself, when am I ever going to get out of this? Dorothy Rosen, author about depression. Very good. Thank you, Kate. I'll look her up as soon as I get off the video chat. What have you found good about her? Tell me some advice she's given you that's been very helpful. I'd like to hear it. Lay says, I lost my job 9 years ago, and I've been on one hell of a journey trying to find my purpose. 2 more years and I'll reach my goal. Keep fighting, everyone. Never give up. Great. So you know you in 2 more years to reach your goal. And what will the goal be? Having a new job or a sense of purpose? I'd like to know what that would be. Doug, how many folks do you know you work with that deal with addiction? Yeah, about half. I would encourage you to check out Kurzgast on YouTube video. It's a goofy name, but the addiction video is fantastic. How do I find his video? Brian, do I just basically, just type in his name on YouTube and it'll come right up? Let me know how I can be more specifically getting to him. Lee says, I've also lost 6 people to suicide and several others to drug. It's been rough. I will succeed on the behalf of all those that suffer. Now, Lee, that's a very, very interesting thing you bring up. Very interesting thing, because just last night, I had a member of a reunion of 6 people who were in my psychotherapy group in 1991. That's a quarter century ago, a little more than that, 26 years ago. And we meet every year at this time of year to honor our therapist who committed suicide while we were in therapy. Now, some of us had moved on from her group. It was a huge trauma, and I was at my darkest place. My wife, Joan, took me aside and said, we're going for a walk this morning. I don't want you to go to your normal outpatient treatment. I have something important to tell you. And when she finally, got the courage to tell me that, this had happened to my dear friend Ann Zimmerman, what came to me immediately was 2 things. One is she is someone to follow, or she is someone, to use an example of what not to do. And I decided I would stay alive, like you said, Lee, I wanted to succeed on behalf of her. I wanted to make sure that her death was not in vain because she had helped me so much. And so, yes, succeeding, not committing suicides on behalf of those who have, very important. I lost my housemate to suicide when I was separated from my wife, Joan. I've lost some friends from Eugene, one member of the support group. I've probably lost 20 people to suicide over the last 20 years. It's an incredible problem. 1 out of 8 people in America, the 10th leading cause of death, and it's all preventable. So thank you for that. Dorothy, nice to see you again. Yeah, sorry, we only have about 8 minutes left, trying to accept my brain illness. I'm only able to take 1 hour at a time, but sometimes less. Well, Dorothy, sometimes I took 1 hour at a time, 10 minutes at a time, 1 minute, and also 1 breath. If you read do you have my book, Dorothy? Read chapter 5, Bearing the Unbearable Pain, and also go to my video called Bearing the Unbearable Pain. It will show you the techniques that I use to get through this pain. And one of the techniques I used was, instead of saying I can't take it or I can't bear it, I said I can barely bear it. I can barely do this. And so that was something to tell myself, because to say I can barely bear it means I can, even if it's by this much, even if it's 1 minute or 1 breath at a time, as opposed to this is unbearable, meaning I can't take it, meaning why not just give up, right? So 1 hour at a time is okay, Dorothy. 1 minute at a time is okay. So hang in there. Hey, Amber. Hi, Doug. Wow, we're going to do some coaching together. Great. Amber's from my time zone on the West Coast. She contacted me a couple of days ago, and we had a great chat, and she's really eager to read my book and to embark on this coaching program I mentioned earlier, 12 weeks, $50 a week, a lot cheaper than a therapist. And we go through the whole group, the whole book. We read all the chapters together, and it's really a good thing. So I look forward to embarking on that with you. Leigh McQueen says, it really does change you profoundly. It's such a tragedy, but we all bring joy and happiness to others. I'm not going to go down. Screw depression. I sent you my vision statement, my goals, says Amber. Great. I'm not going to get them right now. I'm going to get something. Just give me a second. I'm going to get up from the seat, and I'll be right back. I'm going to get my book. So you can still hear me, I hope. And here we go. Coming right back. Healing from Depression, 12 Weeks to a Better Mood. It was talked about by a number of people, and I just want you to see it. It's a Body, Mind, Spirit Recovery Program. And those of you, go to healingfromdepression.com or go to Amazon, and it's really a good deal. I don't say that just because I'm the author. I put my heart and my soul in, and I wrote that in 2001. So what was that, about 34 years of suffering into that book. So Amber, I look forward to reading your vision statement and your goals. That's really cool. And and thank you, Lee. Make that decision. You are not going to go down that road. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and it always passes. It always passes. Lee says, I'll promise I'll buy it the minute I have some money to spare, Doug. Honest. Well, why don't you get it from the library? I'm sure some libraries in Great Britain have, but a lot of people who read my book get it from the public libraries here in America. So, you can get, we have something in America called interlibrary loan. I get books that are not available in America, but are in libraries all around the world. So go to your local library, Lee, and check out interlibrary loan and see if you can get the book from a library out of Great Britain, although I'm sure there must be some in the United Kingdom. You can borrow a book from anywhere in the world. Even if you're broke, you can have access to the great literature and all the knowledge in the world. And of course, there's the internet, right? 88 billion hours of stuff uploaded. And by the way, the Kindle version is only $9.99. You can get a Kindle app for free on your laptop or your iPhone or your Android or your computer. So, $9.99. Maybe one of your friends or your spouse, your parents, or someone close to you can give that to you as a gift. Republic of Ireland, not Britain, Doug. Okay, sorry about that. Did I say Britain? I should have said the UK. Now, is it okay to say the UK if someone lives in Ireland? But yeah, not Britain. Okay, so I don't live. And what does IMAO mean? I'm not quite sure. But things definitely have changed, and we have to be politically correct and say, refer to countries by their proper name. Well, we have about 3 minutes. Any final questions about depression recovery? So again, the 5 things not to do when you're depressed is don't medicate, don't isolate, don't make big decisions, don't neglect your self-care, and above all, do not ask the questions, when will this get better? Just tell yourself, this too shall pass. If you do those 5 things, the other thing I could have mentioned was exercise, get moving. That immediately helps your brain. And of course, that's part of I have another video called 5 Things to Do When You're Depressed. And one of those 5 things is exercise. I've been having some pretty tough days, says Amber. I'm not sure how much longer I can hang on. So tomorrow I'm going to be going to the ER. And what will happen at the ER, Amber? Maybe you should call me after we get off here. Are you hoping to get some medication at the ER, or maybe go inpatient for a day or two? Why don't you give me a call? You know my number. Call me at about 1:15 East Coast time. We can talk about it. And Dorothy Rose bestseller, Depression, The Way Out of Your Prison. I finally understand that I had the power to get myself out of depression. I must buy your book. Thank you, Kate. And I must buy Dorothy Rose's book eventually. I mean, do you know what country she comes from? I mean, I'll look her up at Wikipedia. But anyway, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. And it's really good being with you on this Sunday. I'm really sorry at the beginning this video wasn't public. If you go look at it, you're going to see me talking to myself, looking like a complete idiot, waiting for people's comments because I didn't have it public. I won't make that mistake again. Yeah, Amber, I look forward to hearing from you. Should we have one more joke? I don't know. I'm going to grab, I have one. I was wondering why the ball was getting bigger, and then it hit me. Oh my God, what did I say that for? Anyway, that's funny. Hi, Doug. I'm sorry I'm late to your chat. Sign-in problems. Hey, Mark, you've got 49 seconds. Ask me a question. I won't hang up. You've been thinking about this question the last week. You've been praying about it. You've been on your knees, asking God to give you the right words to say, and now I'm here. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but I'm not going to close the session until Mark asks me a question. So it only took you 59 minutes to sign in. Don't worry about it. Lee McQueen says, positive self-talk all day until the black goes away. I don't entertain negativity. They're just thoughts that they're there. Yes, well, you can't stop the negativity, but you can replace them with positive words. Serenable, thanks. Are you in the UK? Are you in the UK also? UK? Let me know, Serenable, where you are. I think a lot of UKers are here. Mark is still waiting for that question. because, you've been, as I say, you've been thinking about it for weeks. I exaggerate, of course. There was a really bad zoo at handling one dog. It was a Shih Tzu. Hmm. Was that a pun? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, yeah, puns, puns, puns. Um, Haha, H.J. Flower. Well, oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. Oh my God, that was bad. Oh, H.J. Flower. Oh my God, I'm gonna have heartburn the rest of the day. That's a type of a dog, a Shih Tzu. Oh my goodness. Oh, oh, thank you, Lee McQueen, for saying haha. Without your haha, I wouldn't have gotten that joke. Okay, Mark, gonna ask me a question if possible. Otherwise, Ireland is my island. Yep. I'd love to go to Dublin. Isn't Ireland a lot like Oregon? Have any of you guys ever been to Oregon? I hear it's very green with rolling hills. I hear it's very, very pretty and probably really miserable in the winter like it is here, but probably gorgeous in the summer and the spring and maybe the fall. Mike will tell you what IMAO means and get you up on texting. Okay, thank you. Yes, I know that was an acronym for texting, and yeah, no, you have to tell me. I have no idea what IMAO stands for. And why is the I capitalized and the MAO not? Like an MAO inhibitor, maybe. Friends and alcohol, that's all. Yeah, well, um, friends are good. Alcohol is maybe not that good. Remember, I said don't medicate. West Cork, Ireland. Wow. Well, Serenable, you and Lee McQueen should get together, or at least text each other or email and maybe visit each other. You're both from Ireland. That's cool. I try to get some of my English people, my people who live in England or Great Britain, London, the Highland, to basically connect with each other. The number one way to raise self-esteem, says Mark. Okay, we'll end with that question. The number one way to raise self-esteem is to tell yourself over and over again that I am good, I am lovable, I deserve love, and if you believe in a higher power, God doesn't make junk. I'm a beautiful child of the universe. I deserve to be here. And I'm a good person, and also some positive self-talk, and treat yourself well. If you watch your self-care, if you treat yourself well by eating well and getting enough sleep, and doing physical self-care, that's a way of raising your self-esteem as well as your self-talk. Okay. Oh, that was an L. LMAO. Okay, I got it. So, all right. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I will be doing another live chat Wednesday at 11 a.m. This time I'll go public right from the get-go. 11 a.m. Portland time, 7 p.m. Great Britain time or UK time. And tomorrow morning, watch my video, the 3 best ways to not the 3 best ways. Does exercise really heal anxiety? Which it does. And I will be starting to post some affirmations and videos, but I'll let you know when that comes. Welcome to the hill in my backyard. Amen, Doug, says Lee. Have a great day, my friend. Have a great day to you. I'll look forward for you signing in at 7 o'clock on Wednesday evening, your time. Thanks. And by the way, after I sign off, you guys can continue to chat. Evidently, I hear that continues even after I stop streaming. Okay, until we meet again.